Britain's new census finds Gen Z are twice as likely to identify as LGBTQ+. According to new research, people aged 16 to 24, aka Gen Z, are more than twice as likely to identify as part of the LGBTQ+ community. The data, which came from the 2021 census and was released by the Office for National Statistics, ONS, earlier this month, surveyed all English and Welsh citizens aged 16 and over. After some 220 years of census data collecting, it was the very first time that the ONS asked citizens about their gender identity and sexual orientation. Earlier in January, it was reported that 262,000 people in England and Wales identified as transgender and or non-binary, 48,000 each as transgender men and women, and 30,000 as non-binary. Meanwhile, 1.5 million people, or 3.2% of responders, identified their sexuality as gay or lesbian, bisexual, or otherwise existing outside of a heterosexual binary. As reported by the ONS early this week, over half of those responders were part of Gen Z, with 6.91% of the age bracket identifying themselves as queer. Most of those specifically identified as bisexual, with 4% of Gen Z responders ticking that box. This is an incredibly important story for our community. Now, we're talking about England and Wales in this reporting. But first, it's the first time that they've ever done this. Many people are saying that the numbers may reflectively be low. The identification of 6.9% of Gen Z are identifying as LGBT, non-heterosexual, non-binary, and about 3.5% of general population identifying is actually a reflection of numbers being low. General terms in the United States, estimates are approximately 7 to 9% identify as LGBT. And the explanation of this study of the survey from the census is it's the first time it's ever been asked. So many people probably immediately did not embrace the census survey as it was done, and the numbers are actually much higher. And they did something in Britain that's never been done in the United States. We do the census, the big census every 10 years, and there's updates every year. We've never, ever asked this question before.
We've tried.
We've tried. And
the last administration refused.
That's exactly right. So this is really big news, because a lot of people say, well, of course we should be identifying. How many people are identifying as non-binary or are lesbian or gay or whatever? This is a very important news story.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging, and all I could think of is if we just add on a couple of more letters, we'll just take over the whole thing. You know what I mean? And stop having these ridiculous conversations about who's like human and who's not, and who's okay and who's not, and just throw in a couple of more letters, take in all of humanity, we'll just take over the whole thing.
Yeah. But it's very nice to see, when I talked to my nephew who, is a Gen Zer, they're just so comfortable around the topic, the conversations around people that are outside of the binary, and it's wonderful. So I think that it gives me hope that we're definitely headed in the right place.
Well, that's where public education is so important, right? That's why it's scary in Florida when they say all of a sudden you can't talk about, you can't discuss, and you can't. That's why they are so comfortable. They've been discussing this since they were in kindergarten. They could care less now.
That is a reflection that it is a very strategic attack on
absolutely.
They know exactly. Our governor knows exactly what he's doing. Don't talk about it. You can live, but don't speak about it. Well, and that is because Gen Zers are showing, wait, we have no problem talking about it. We want to speak about it. What are you hiding? What are you keeping from?
Well, not only that, then they want the rest of the rights. Then they go, hey, guess what? I feel good about myself. And by the way,
Gen Zers.
Right.
And we don't say that very often at Core News. Max Benning. All right. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+ community.